Make sure you watch this video from the beginning to the very end to get more information concerning the response. Watch this.
Now to the Middle East. President Trump slamming Iran's latest attempt to end the war, saying the regime has been laughing at our country, but they will be laughing no longer.
Alex Hogan joins us live from Washington with the very latest. Hi, Alex.
Hi, Carly and Todd. So markets reacting to the news this morning. Oil prices surging today. And today, Iran's foreign minister says that it is still serious about negotiations after President Trump rejected Tehran's recent response, writing this on Truth Social. I've just read the response from Iran's so-called representatives. I don't like it. Totally unacceptable. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Iranian state media today claiming that the response called for compensation for war damages and it would give the Iranians control over the Strait of Hormuz. According to the Wall Street Journal, the deal did not adhere to the administration's demands on uranium enrichment. Quote, the latest response doesn't resolve the U.S. demand for commitments in advance of the fate of Iran's nuclear program and its stockpile of highly enriched uranium. Nuclear issues would be negotiated over the next 30 days, they said. Iran proposes to have some of its highly enriched uranium diluted and the rest transferred to a third country, people said. President Trump, in an interview released this weekend, addressed the nuclear concerns.
We'll get that at some point, whatever we want. We have it surveilled. I did a thing called Space Force, and they are watching that if somebody walked in, they can tell you his name, his address, the number of his badge. No, we have that very well surveilled. If anybody got near the place, we will know about it, and we'll blow them up.
President Trump also reportedly spoke with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu on Sunday, who doubled down that the war with Iran is not over.
Because there's still nuclear material, enriched uranium that has to be taken out of Iran. There's still enrichment sites that have to be dismantled. There's still proxies that Iran supports. There are ballistic missiles that they still want to produce.
Netanyahu went on to say in that interview that he wants Israel to reduce U.S. military support from $3.8 billion a year to zero in the future. Carly, Todd.
Alex Hogan, thank you. Still ahead, U.S. Ambassador to NATO Matt Whitaker joins us as the Trump administration pushes to strike a deal with Iran.
President Trump preparing for a high-stakes summit with Chinese President Xi Jinping in Beijing later this week, with the war in Iran set to be one of the major topics of discussion. The Wall Street Journal writing that the Iran war is hanging over the summit, adding, quote, Xi also wants the fight to stop as Middle East turmoil restricts Iran's oil supply and shrinks country's ability to buy Chinese goods. And U.S. Ambassador to the UN Mike Waltz has this to say about China's relationship with Iran.
As it pertains to Iran, the blockade is stopping all shipping coming out, including of Iran's illegal oil that China was purchasing. Yes, they've had reserves, but we've also seen the Chinese economy faltering as a result of energy prices, not only from Iran, but also Venezuela, that have changed dramatically since President Trump took these actions.
U.S. Ambassador to NATO Matt Whitaker joins me now. Mr. Ambassador, thank you so much for joining us. So it does look like it's back to the drawing board when it comes to Iran. The president writing on Truth Social yesterday, I have just read the response from Iran's so-called representatives. I don't like it. Totally unacceptable. What do next steps look like?
Well, next steps are certainly to continue to negotiate. President Trump is a deal maker. He's a peacemaker. He certainly has all options at his disposal, including using our awesome military if that's necessary. But really, all military objectives have been completed by the United States. We are in a much different situation from 9 weeks ago, where Iran was menacing not only its neighbors, but with what we found out, their capabilities of their missile program, really the world, including those that could reach here in Europe. And so, President Trump has dramatically changed that situation for the better, and he's going to get the best deal for the American people. And ultimately, this recent proposal from the Iranians wasn't acceptable, but President Trump and his team, we're going to continue working on this until we get exactly what we want, which is to make sure that Iran's nuclear ambitions are over and to make sure that they can peacefully coexist in the Middle East with their neighbors.
Yeah, the president has made clear that the U.S. has won this war militarily, but less clear is just how long Iran can withstand our blockade of their ports, with some estimates including one U.S. intelligence analysis saying Tehran could withstand a blockade for months. So with that in mind, how much leverage do we have over Iran right now when it comes to getting them back to the negotiating table?
The United States has tremendous leverage. And while I'm not going to comment about alleged intelligence products, what I can tell you is that every single day it gets harder and harder for Iran to pay its soldiers, to continue its economy, to continue what they're trying to do, which is to wait us out. And obviously the president is resolved to win this situation for the American people. And by winning, I mean by getting a deal that accomplishes his goals, opens up the Strait of Hormuz, eliminates and ends their nuclear ambition, and all of the other things that he has proposed in the negotiations. And so, President Trump holds all the cards, will continue to hold those cards until he gets the deal that's necessary for the American people. And quite frankly, the world's a better place because of that.
Okay, let's talk about NATO, because you recently said that it's currently going through a factory reset, going back to its war fighting roots, NATO 3.0. What does all of that mean in practice?
Ultimately, it's about returning to its war-fighting roots, to have allies that are capable. I think one of the frustrating things for President Trump and us in this administration is our allies cannot send significant war-fighting ships to help in the Strait of Hormuz. They just don't have those assets. They are moving quickly to try to replace the assets that they had let deteriorate. But right now, it is a one-way street, and the United States of America delivers for our allies, and we're expecting our allies to deliver for the United States, and they have to show up, and they have to be capable, and they have to invest the money. And what we accomplished last year in The Hague by getting the 5% political agreement now has to turn into real capabilities, things like ships and tanks and air defense systems. And those are the kind of issues that right now we are pushing our allies hard to get that done. And we're going to have a big summit in Ankara, Turkey, this summer, where we're going to get a report card on what our allies have done, and we're expecting significant investments from last year in The Hague.
Yeah, where do you think our European allies and European countries stand when it comes to this vision?
Yeah, I think in the last year they've spent $100 or $200 billion more than they had, all because of President Trump and what he's done to rejuvenate this alliance and to bring strength finally to this alliance. And the commitments are there politically, but it's the year over year, the hard work. And so I'm expecting this year we're going to see another more than $100 billion. But remember, President Trump has proposed a defense budget for the United States of America of $1.5 trillion. So while $100 billion is a lot of money, we need our allies to continue to move at pace, to continue to spend the money and turn it into real capabilities, real troops, real capacity to fight war.
U.S. Ambassador to NATO, Matt Whitaker, we thank you so much for your time. You got a big job and a very important one at that. We appreciate you joining us this morning. Good to see you.
Carly, thank you. Say hello to Todd for me.
I sure will.
What do you have to say concerning this video clip you watch? I hope you heard everything. Drop your opinion in the comment section. For more news and updates like this, subscribe. Thank you for watching. See you in the next one, and bye.